we're hard on ourselves, and we're not hard on anybody else. We're always hard on ourselves. And I think finding time, it's almost like making an appointment with yourself to do the things that you want to do that you've never get around to doing. You've got to be, you've got to be a work colleague, you've got to be a parent, you've got to be a partner, but you lose yourself sometimes. And I think it's just coming back and remembering to be a little bit selfish, look after yourself, because if you're not whole, you can't be whole for everyone else.
Hello and welcome to Separate Bathrooms. We would like to acknowledge the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land. Pay our respects to the elders both past and present. My name's Daddo.
I'm Daddo.
I knew that.
You are psychic.
I am. What better way to begin a year than to talk with a psychic?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't have one, but it would be fun, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that be great if we had one? I'd love that.
Is there anything you would like to know from a psychic?
Gosh, there's lots of things. Sometimes it depends on the day. Sometimes I'd love to know if a project I'm working on should I stick with it or leave it alone, or are my loved ones okay that have passed over, or are my kids gonna, am I going to be a grandma? Are my kids safe and sound? Those, so it depends. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. Well, of course, am I going to win the lottery? How can I win the lottery?
Yeah.
Maybe the lottery is not the actual lottery. Maybe it's something else.
Yes.
That is a big win.
Right. Academy Award, Logie.
Well, why not? Yeah, Academy Award, Logie. Hey, they're pretty balanced.
Yeah.
That would mean I've done a job, so an acting gig. So yes, I'll take either.
There you go.
Hey. All right. Today's guest is a spiritual medium with over 16 years' experience in mediumship, readings, healings. She does parties, platforms, stage and audience work. I'm curious about that.
Yeah. She's also one of the first Australian mediums to perform at the Sydney Opera House.
We're not going to ask her to perform too much today. only a little bit. Wee little bit. Please welcome Florence King to the bathroom.
Welcome, Florence, to the bathroom. It's so lovely to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's an honour. Thank you. I'm so excited.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what actual types of psychic abilities that you particularly specialise in?
Absolutely. I think everybody is psychic. Every single one of us is psychic. And our basis, our foundation is intuition. So everyone has intuition. We're all born with intuition. There's nobody that's born without intuition. So everyone's psychic. Everyone sees past, present, future, has a look at somebody and doesn't like the look of them, has a bad feeling, that gut instinct. But mediumship's a different kettle of fish. That's people who've crossed over, including animals. And it's not just saying, I see a woman around you. It's trying to get as much identification as you possibly can, linking in and letting you know there's something beyond this world. So every medium is psychic. Not every psychic's a medium. That's the difference. So, yeah.
Let me just sit with that for a second.
Yeah.
Is it in your family?
No. So, yeah, it just came out of nowhere.
Well, when did you discover?
Well, I'm 60 and I've lost people, and you always wonder, I'm Catholic, I believe in God, I always hope that there was something beyond this life. Been to psychics all my life and nobody really I didn't really realise there was a difference between somebody that had a tarot ball. See, I don't use any of that, a tarot cards or a crystal ball to mediumship. And nobody ever sort of gave me that validation about loved ones in spirit. So when I was 44, it's like I opened the door and I went and had some lessons, like in this sort of business, and it's like the floodgates just opened. And then since then, I've had an incredible journey and career and done so many things, but I think it was something that was always there. But now I can recognise that.
Yep.
But 16 years ago, I would have said, no, nothing,
Oh, okay. So up to the age, so before 44, what were you doing?
I was doing raising children, but had so many different careers. I did kitchen designing, retail, so many other things, but mainly my focus was the children. And, and I think it was losing mum and dad straight away, close together, losing a partner many years ago. You just always wonder what happens beyond this world, So I'm curious and I'm always asking questions, and it's one thing to believe that we're all safe in heaven, but where's the proof of that? So now as a medium, I've sat in that audience and wanted somebody to blow my socks off. Now to be on the other side of that, I know what people are looking for. I know what questions they're looking for. And you want that. You can't give closure. That's the wrong word because grief goes forever.
Yeah,
but
sure.
to give them that doesn't matter what culture you are, It doesn't matter if you're skeptical, doesn't matter if you're different religion, that I believe all roads go to one place. And I think it's all about love and love bonds, and that's all that matters, proving that there's something beyond this life. Yeah.
And what's the process to do you hear voices? Do you see visions, or how does it work for you?
With me, there's no standard script, and I don't meditate, and that gets me into a lot of trouble because everyone believes this process is, meditating and all that. I don't meditate. I think you've saw enough now to see that I don't even quiet my mouth for too long to be able to sit and meditate. So I do a prayer. I open the door, and once that door's open, I'm aware that everything's spiritual. And yes, I've probably brought through about 100,000 spirits, and I've probably seen 10 of them. It's very rare to see somebody from head to toe, but everything I get is mind to mind, and that I've perfected and hopefully get as much information. Sometimes you'll hear somebody, sometimes you'll see somebody, but I think the easiest and quickest way is because they don't have a voiceover in spirit. I think they're an energy. So I think that's, it's just learning to just look at somebody and read somebody and figure out the thoughts. So there's no process. I just I'm on and then I'm off.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talked about heaven or this idea of where do we go? Where do you think we go?
I think there is a heaven. I don't know what we do 24/7, and I'm always honest. If I don't have the answers to something, all I know is that there's something beyond this life. And I've lost 7 babies myself. I've been able to see that every one of those have their individual fingerprint. I get into trouble with reincarnation because I don't believe in it. I haven't seen evidence of it. And, for ladies widowed and her husband says, I'll wait for her and I'll be meeting her when she gets over here and it's 50 years in between, you don't want to sort of hear that you get over there, wait to see your husband and, sorry, you just missed him, you reincarnated. So I believe that when we get over there, I think that's it. I've brought through too many people that have been there. If they reincarnate, how am I talking to them on the other side? So it's sort of, I think the more I get a question answered, I have 10 to replace it,
Sure.
But all I know is there's something beyond this life. And somehow we go on because I talk to animals, and that sounds really bizarre.
Yeah,
or you talk
Dr.
to
Dolittle.
Dr. Dolittle.
Come on, Dr. Dolittle.
Or babies that never got to be born or able to speak. How do we talk to them? Because it's the soul, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, God, so many questions. Okay, so if we don't come back, why do we come here?
They say to learn our lessons. I don't know. I'm still a little bit on the fence about that.
Okay.
I don't know. All I know is, and I always like to sort of back my mouth up, and the best one I ever had was somebody who was in spirit 80 years, and as soon as a woman sat down, I sort of said, oh, your mum's in spirit, but she looked old, and I thought, oh, that's probably a bit general. And she said, oh, yeah. And then I sort of heard, but I've been in spirit for 80 years. And I went, oh, she's been in spirit for 80 years. So I thought they talk about, it can take decades for them to reincarnate. Well, I haven't seen evidence of that. I've got a partner in spirit 34 years. He comes in every day. So I don't know.
Hang on, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he comes and sees me every day. So he's been in spirit 34. Fiance,
like
father
an
of my
ex-lover?
child. Yeah.
Who died?
Yeah, he died. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's when she's in spirit. That's
spirit.
when she's
All right,
in
okay, sorry.
That's okay. I talk so fast. I'm like a steamroller.
There's some big concepts going on right now. You're so let's just slow it down a bit. Your fiance passed away.
Yeah.
How long ago?
34 years.
And he still visits you?
Still visits me every day. Every day, yeah.
And you guys have conversations?
Not so necessarily conversations, but just more the feeling that I know he's there, or I'll get a sign, or, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Don't mean to be personal, but I do.
Yeah. No. No, none of that.
That doesn't happen?
No, I haven't seen evidence of that.
No little horizontal folk dancing with So Patrick Swayze, Ghost. Is that a thing?
I think that's probably a good representation, I really do, about how they can move things, about how they, enter the medium's mind like they did with Whoopi Goldberg. I believe that's credible. I believe the moving, she got exhausted after it. I don't. Yeah. I'm like an ever-ready battery, as you can see. I just go and go. Yeah. But I don't, because I don't feel they have a physical body with needs. So I think love is love. I don't believe they have to eat. That's why I've brought through shark attack victims, I've brought through murder victims, I brought through Carl Williams the day after he passed, and all these people, they're safe in heaven. Now, if a shark takes a body away, how does that work? So I believe the soul is tangible, and I believe that's where how does somebody with Alzheimer's go to heaven and know the memory of love to somebody in the living, because I believe everything goes away. So I think heaven must be this vast universe. I've only had a peek. I don't think anybody has the answers to what happens. I think we won't find out till we get over there, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm not in a hurry to get over there just for the answers.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
But I think all I know to be true is that there's something beyond this life, and love.
Yeah.
Well, we
Love
are
continues.
energy, aren't we?
Yeah, that's
and
what I
energy
believe.
does
Yeah.
beget. I mean, energy continues. It changes form. Obviously,
Absolutely.
We
I think
learned
that's
that
a good
in
way to
science
put
in
it.
Year 7.
That's right. And even if you look back at the old horror movies, they're all the flickering lights and everything electricity related. So, I do believe that we are an energy, and that's why we don't grow. That's why babies, I believe, have as much knowledge as an adult, because, they're not a baby in that form over there. So I think that's a good way to say it. Energy, we change, we evolve. And that's why you get all the shadows out the corner of your eyes rather than, somebody sitting down talking to you for 2 hours from spirit. I don't believe that's possible, so.
Hang on, shadows in the corner of my eye there.
Peripheral vision, yeah. That's always your loved ones. Now, the Hollywood movies will tell you it's a scary movie, or, that sells movies.
Yeah.
But because they can't give us the colours and the height and the colour of the eyes, the black shadows is their form. And to me, it is creepy. If you see something out of the corner of your eye, you're like, what's that? But, like attracts like. There is negativity over there. And I believe if you were doing something terrible, like planning a murder, then, I think you'd have 20 murderers come through and say, I'm going to sit here tonight and watch what's going on here. This is right up my alley. But, most of the times you've got a force field of your loved ones. Whether you knew them in life, whether you didn't know them in life, they're looking out for you, and they're not going to let anybody in that's negative and there have to be a reason. They're not going to waste their time to come through if you're not that way intended in mind. So,
What do most people want to know when they're in mediumship with you?
Are their loved ones okay?
Yeah, of course.
Are they looking after them, especially if there's been horrific passings? I've seen it all. The shark attacks, I've probably, in a country where we don't have that many shark attacks, I've probably brought through about 10. That's amazing to me.
Give us a glimpse into that.
Well, sometimes you get to see what they see before they left this world, and that's where sometimes good detail will come in. If I can see if somebody was driving the car that may have killed them, or if somebody committed suicide, or if somebody's jumped off a cliff, I can see hopefully whether they've been pushed, whether they've jumped, or whether they've slipped, or sometimes I give a bit of clarity. With the shark attacks, the ones that have been most horrific are the ones that have saw the shark, which of course, but sometimes a lot of people have just woke up on the other side and just have a memory of a big splash or something of that nature. Oh, okay. It's the same as murders. It's the same as people burning to death. It's the same as acts of war where they, I had one man, I think it was an IRA passing. He was in a pub in Ireland and was having a drink and woke up on the other side and had no memory of how he got there because it was that quick.
It must be so confusing for the soul.
Yeah, I think they figure it out pretty quickly because I've bought, some people say, and I don't want to argue with anybody else, but I'm not going to have anyone argue with my experience either. People say, they've got to figure out that they've passed over. No, they know they've passed over. They know that they don't have the need to go to the toilet or, have a drink or eat, or they know if they're talking to somebody and they're not replying to them. They know they're in spirit. But I think they, the best I've ever bought through was an hour after they passed, and he was fine. He was settled. So I believe they go straight to where they are and they leave all their hardships behind. And it was almost got argumentative. I was doing a home party and I said to this lady, I got his name and children and all that sort of thing. And she said, he's not in spirit. And I said, I'm so sorry, I got it wrong. You've got to admit you get things wrong. And I said, I'm so sorry. And we're going backwards and forwards. And I said, he even had a tracheotomy. She said, yeah. She said, and she's getting cranky with me now, but I'm telling you he's alive. And I went, I'm really sorry. I think I might wrap it up. I'm just getting this so wrong. Next minute the phone rang because the phone was on silent and he had passed an hour before. So I thought that was just amazing. I wasn't happy about it for them, but it was amazing to me for my learning that straight away they're in spirit and they're okay. Wow. And he saw that somebody could get a message that he was okay. So I think that's the main thing, that there are, and do they see what's going on? If I had $1 for every time, tell my mum this, you don't need to tell me, you tell her. She'll give you signs that she hears you, that sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a question that I was wondering about. Like if I just go, can I just talk to my grandfather and he can actually hear
Absolutely.
me? Oh,
absolutely.
That's really lovely to know that,
absolutely.
Actually. Yeah.
And I say to people, and it's hopefully you make somebody feel good for 10 minutes, but then when they go home, they're on their own. So I say to them, you'll get ringing in your ears. You'll get the number plate with their initials. You'll get a smell if they smoked. You'll get a perfume or an aftershave. And it'll be at the exact moment when you're talking to them. So it'll be like confirmation. So you're like, okay, that's too bizarre. That happened or the ringing in the ears or the touching their hair. hair, and you'll get that. And that's when you're private. I can't manufacture that for you to believe in
Yeah.
me. You'll feel that. So, yeah, I don't want people to think they have to come to me every time they want a conversation or, you know. Yeah, so, yeah, and they follow you around. They don't follow me around. You know, they follow you. You know, everyone's like, oh, tell my mother this, tell my mother that. And I'm like, my bed's not big enough at the end of the night to tell all these people they're sitting on the edge of the bed waiting for a message.
That's what you've brought through 100,000 people. That's a lot of people in the bedroom for you.
That's it. Yeah, and they go to the weddings, they go to the christenings. You'll see the photos when you see little orbs there and all that sort of thing. And people will say, gee, I felt my mother was there. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. She wouldn't have missed that, you know. So,
Yes.
yeah, love still goes on. So, yeah.
Is there one memorable reading that you remember that has stood out amongst everything that you could share?
I think there's been so many. I think one was when a Catholic priest rang me and I thought I was going to get in trouble. You know, I thought, because I do believe in God and I am Catholic, but I'm also curious about the afterworld. And when he spoke to me at the end of it, he said to me, he said, good on, because I was on live TV at the time, and he said, good on you. He said, keep doing what you're doing. He said, you're making a difference. And I was like, wow. It was like I'd been blessed by God, you know. I think there's been so many. It's hard to, I think just when somebody says, you know, that, you know, you gave me comfort that, you know, or, you know, they may not be thinking they want to live in this world anymore because their loved ones are over here. And I'm like, well, I've seen the ones that have taken themselves over and they all know they've made a mistake by that. And one day you'll meet them again. And so there's been a lot of funny stories. Or I remember talking to a lady one day and I got an uncle through and she said, we going on and on and on. She said, I don't know who you're talking to, but he's died. And I went, oh, yes, that's who I'm talking to. You know, so it's sort of like they don't understand the concept. You know, oh, no, but he's been there 40 years. I'm like, he's still there. You know, like, so it's really funny. Or I had an ex-husband come through and he said to his wife, she's never replaced me. And I said, oh, you've never replaced him. And he was so happy, you know, peacock chest. And she gave me the eyebrow and said, I've been remarried for 10 years. So I sort of went, really? We got that wrong? And he goes, well, I don't acknowledge him. Why should you? And the lady went, oh, he was insanely jealous. And that was like little moments that, like, it's just priceless because my partner in spirit won't acknowledge my husband now. You know, it's the same thing, you know. So I think there's still that human side where that person's living the life they should have lived, you know. So there's a lot of funny moments like that, you know. So
you're saying that there's the people on the other side, or spirits on the other side, have regrets and still have feelings like human feelings.
Absolutely. You know, and you'll see the ones that see the wife crying in the pillow every night. That breaks their heart. And see, they know what we've yet to learn, but the wife crying on the pillow doesn't know that her husband's there, aware of that, you know. So, yeah, they still have, you know, I've got in-laws that didn't talk to me in life and it hasn't changed because they've gone to spirit. So they don't become love and light if they weren't gracious people here, you know, sort of thing. So, you know, if somebody said to me, your mother-in-law's sending a love, I'd be like, not my mother-in-law. Sorry, she didn't like me in life, she doesn't like me now, you know. So, so that still stays the same. So the love bonds never change, you know. Parents will stay near children, you know, so that's comforting, you know, to be able to give people proof of that. As I said, you know, when they see the number plate signs or where they hear the funeral song come on at the exact moment they were talking to them or, you know, so, you know, or the times when somebody has a serious accident and they say, I felt like my loved one was there and pulled me out of the wreck. And I'm like, I guarantee that's probably happened, you know, so,
Okay, so then in your view, can a spirit change course? Well, you've just said it.
I think they can.
Can they can they direct my hand to the right lotto numbers?
I think as much as I've tried that, I just haven't seen evidence of that. You know? So I think they must have somebody to report to.
There must be a rule up there,
I think so, because I think as much as they'd want to get us out of binds, I think somebody up ahead goes, no, sorry, that's not going to happen. But I've got to tell you, you know, it's so funny. Like, you know, even my husband, he used to work at Peter Warren's at Warwick Farm, and he had a very bad accident, and he said that, you know, there was a little fireman, he was trapped in the car, smoke started to come, he thought he was going to die, and he said a little off-duty fireman pulled him out and saved his life. Well, one of the workmates was following him and he said nobody got in that car. And I thought, oh, why wasn't I there to see that? You know, so I think they can help us with things. I think they can change little things. A lot of numbers, haven't seen evidence of that. You know,
so here's a bummer.
I wish.
I'll keep that. I'm going to keep that possibility open.
I wouldn't be here. I'd be in the Bahamas if I had those, and I don't even drink. I'd be drinking.
So do you think that then, so I had an experience when our son was 2, Riv was 2, the shrimp the shrimp and the thing. And so I was
The shrimp.
the shrimp story.
Also known as prawns in Australia.
Oh, there you go.
hoping that
Well,
was
we
where
were
we
in
were going.
America. Yeah. No, we were in America. They call them shrimp. So I'm still back there, evidently. So I was on a film set and I just happened to have my lunch with a couple of paramedics. And I asked them, what do you do when your child is choking?
Yeah.
And they told me how to deal with a child who's choking on some food. So basically it was where to whack them on the back. That night at dinner, my son sitting where Ali is right now.
My son as well.
Yeah. We do this. So Rip's sitting there and he's got this big, beautiful plate of prawn and he was blue.
Oh.
And his arms started floating around and I looked at him. I'm like, oh, and stood up, did what I had to do, gave him a whack on the back. Poof, this shrimp went flying across the table at his sister. And the sister's like, what the hell did you do that for? And Al just said, how did you know how to do that?
Yeah. Now that's beyond, isn't it?
And I said, I had a conversation with some paramedics today and I asked them the question. I don't even know why I asked them the question.
And that's not your general question to ask a paramedic, is it? So that's your gut instinct. There is a knowing. It's like when somebody leaves this world, most times you'll hear a conversation where they talk a little bit different. It's like sometimes they physically know and sometimes somebody might say, I'm not going to be...
Hang on, who are we talking about? The person
anybody,
that's left?
like when you have people that before they leave this world, if you listen to the conversations they say, especially when they've passed and you go back and you recollect and you go, hang on, they were talking, it's like the subconscious knows. So even in that time of that could have been a real disaster, or somebody's given you the heads up to prepare for that. It's like, as I said, and when somebody's going to pass from this world, sometimes people actually know, I'm not going to be here next Christmas. They're not here next Christmas. Or, they talk and they start wrapping up things, or they, say something that's a bit peculiar, and then when they've passed over, you think they know. Like my partner, before he passed away, was 25 years old. He said, we should get life insurance. We had a little baby. I said, what for? We'll worry about that when you're 40. 2 weeks later, he was killed in a car accident. So, so isn't that bizarre? A 25-year-old doesn't think of life insurance.
That's right.
So do you have advice for people in terms of that gut or that, what do you say to them?
Trust it. Always. If I don't look like the look of somebody, and I've done it so many times, if I was working somewhere and I feel like I'm boxed in and, somebody's sort of edging, I'll walk around them even if it appears rude because I'm thinking you're boxing me in for a reason. There's something not right. If I don't like the look of somebody here, I walk over that side of the street. I remember when my mum was alive, pulling her away in Kmart saying, I don't like the look of that guy. And I wasn't doing this work then. And we went outside and she said, I was just about to put a lay-by on. What's wrong with you? That sort of thing. And we literally waited about half an hour. We were doing other things. We were in a mall, I think, watched him come out, kick an old lady to the ground, take a bag. The very same man. So that was before I was doing this work.
Yeah.
So now 1,000%. Trust your instinct. If something doesn't feel right, then it's not right. You see a lot of people starting businesses and they say, the business failed. And I'll be like, but hang on, let's go back. You had a lot of warning signs. You go to the bank manager and the day that you make an appointment and the one person in the whole bank is away. So there's your first clue. You're not meant to do that today. Go back and rethink it. If you're single and you look at somebody and you go heartbreaker, and then 6 months down the track they break your heart, you sort of got that heads up when you looked at them. You can still go for it, but be prepared that you've got their character straight away.
Yeah.
So trust that gut instinct. It's never wrong. We've all got intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because how many times did I said it or you've heard other people say, I knew I shouldn't have done that.
Absolutely.
I knew I should have done that. I knew. And you don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
So when you teach your course, is it a course in mediumship or
psychic and mediumship?
Tell us about that.
Because I think to trust, because again, you've got no script when we do what we do, and I do a lot of shows and all that sort of thing, and you get up on stage and you just got to hope that somebody comes through, that kind of thing. So I always say to people to trust that gut instinct. I give them exercises, intuitive exercises. I've written books with intuitive exercises and tell them to trust. And once you get that knowing down pat, trusting your feeling, then everything else sort of comes along with it. So teaching what I do, it isn't, I don't give a certificate. people always say, they want a certificate. I'm like, no, that implies completion of a course. And this course, you're always learning. You'll never know
that's
everything.
good. That's
so
good.
I'm not going to put my name up on a course there. So it's trusting. It's just trusting and not to be worried if you offend somebody. As I said, if I don't like the look of somebody, great, I'm going the other direction, So if, how
Glad
many
you're
times...
still here, Florence.
Yeah,
I know.
Wow. We might have not have had this recording today.
You could have turned around.
It's so lovely because I've been a fan of your acting work, but I don't know anything about you guys. But I'm talking to myself in my head going, they seem like really nice guys. And then I'm thinking, well, the public image always looks nice. I don't know what the private image is like, but you've got to, you sort of get a read on people straight away. You know what I mean? As I said, if someone's trying to sell you a car, you don't have to go and look at the car. You just look at the person. No, they're trying to sell me a lemon, so yeah.
Do you feel that people are more open now to sort of esoteric practices and more have you noticed that?
Absolutely. Because I've only been doing this like 16 years, I think it was John Edward that opened the door that I suddenly realised.
Crossing over, right?
I watched
his show.
I watched every episode.
I love him. And he was the one that showed me, because I don't have any tools, and, no disrespect to anybody that has tools, but they're a good crutch, aren't they? And I think, again, not disrespectfully, but anybody can open a deck of cards and get something. When you've got nothing in front of you, I think that's a little bit more credible. And he was the one that showed the world about mediumship. And in those days, you couldn't really talk about being one of spooky people, and you couldn't talk about going to see a spooky person because you'd be ridiculed, and people are still skeptical, but it was, and I think more women were into this than men. Now it's wonderful to see when I read bikers, and I think, oh, this is really cool. And then, one man said to me, I don't know that I believe in you. And I went, okay, that's fair enough. That's my job to try and prove. And he said, but if you pick up anything illegal around me, don't tell my parents. And I'm like, so you kind of do believe in me. But it's to see somebody of that calibre coming to somebody like me, that's amazing, So I think people are more open. And to see the little kids talking about meditation and things like that, that's wonderful, So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Are you able to look into the future and see things?
Sometimes, yeah.
Here we are at the beginning of 2024.
Yeah.
Have you come across anything or had any signs?
I think we're all still recovering from COVID, and I think we're forgetting that COVID's still out there. But I think it's
definitely out there.
It is, right? And we're getting blasé about it, So, and I think our to-do list, we're still catching up on it, So I think this year's been a real shocker. I don't think anybody's, like in my line of work, I never have anybody sitting down in front of me saying, I've won lotto, yee-hee, and I've got nothing wrong with the world. Everyone that sits in front of me has got problems or issues or grief or love struck or money problems. So I think everyone this year, the calibre of hardship has been beyond, So I think next year's going to clear up a little bit better for us, on a whole thing. But I think it's made us all, like I always used to wonder, everyone says naturally to me, well, why do we have all these disasters? And I'm like, well, I don't have the answers to that. But you look at when we had the Japanese tsunami, now I couldn't speak the language, I couldn't hear what they were saying to each other. But when you looked at the grief on their face, when they were carrying their babies that had passed and people in suits rolling up their sleeves, and I think that just reminds us about humanity. And that, that we feel what they feel. So I think all of these things that have happened the last couple of years have made us all stop and recollect and stop and think about what's important and prioritise, So I think next year's going to be a better year for us all. Not that it's been a terrible year, but it's like the Earth's been off its axis. Yeah. And we're all sort of not depressed, not floundering, but a little bit lost, a little bit empty, and looking for that, that piece of me that's missing. So I think we're going to sort of get that a bit together next year. We've been saying every year it'll get better, but I haven't felt it has. But I think next year will be a little bit better.
Why? What do you base that on, Florence?
Just my gut, my gut feeling, and I wish I had privy to, to them to tell me exactly what's going to happen on what day and all that sort of thing. Yeah. But I think just as I said, every year you sort of go, and I'm not a downsayer. I'm always an upbeat person, whatever happens in my life. And people have said, oh, next year's going to be better. And each year I've been going, oh, I don't think so, But this time I feel next year will be a bit better, So, just as I said, I think it's made us all stop. And I don't know, people can still be self-absorbed, people can still be nasty, but you're seeing a little bit more of defences breaking down and people caring a little bit more. And I think that's probably been the big lesson we've had to learn these last couple of years, So, I
was going to ask you what actions, if you were to, put a general action out there for our listeners to sort of make their life better in your experience, what would you say to them?
I think be kind to yourself. You know, we always hear be kind to others. And again, I'm pretty much a realist. If somebody's done the wrong thing by me, I'm not going to, it's kind of like walking into a building on fire and expecting you to come out with no smoke in your lungs. So if somebody's negative or toxic, get them out of your life. If somebody's not making you feel good about yourself. And I think we're all about, be kind to one another and all that sort of thing. But I think it's remembering to be kind on yourself. We're hard on ourselves and we're not hard on anybody else. We're always hard on ourselves. And I think finding time, it's almost like making an appointment with yourself to do the things that you want to do that you've never get around to doing. You've got to be, you've got to be a work colleague, you've got to be a parent, you've got to be a partner, but you lose yourself sometimes. And I think it's just coming back and remembering to be a little bit selfish, look after yourself, because if you're not whole, you can't be whole for everyone else, and be happy. What are we working for if we're not having treats and being happy? So I think it's just coming down to being kind and not this, people will have a go at me and then go love and light. And I'm kind of like, yeah, you can keep your love and light. If you feel that way, just don't talk to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not, So the thing is, if somebody's not making you feel good about themselves, whether it's a friend, a partner, a family member, then just avoid them. Get them out of your life. And I think it's more taking control back of your life and looking after you, for not only your spiritual health, your mental health, your physical health and your emotional well-being. So I think, just do the things that you've been putting off. Because when's a good day? And tomorrow's not a guaranteed. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. So I think do the things that you need to do for yourself. And I think if you're fully charged, then you can take on anything that hits you, anything that comes your way.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
Good advice. I love that.
Aww.
Is there, if I give you $50...
I'm frightened where this is going.
You know what I'm going to say? To take care of myself and my wife.
Did you hear?
Is there a message? Is there a message?
I can't believe you just offered her $50 like that.
Well, I don't want to ask her for free. I'm not asking for a freebie.
That's probably like a lowball number.
But I'm not being disrespectful.
Like
$50. Alison makes 3 times the amount of money that I do. So $50 is actually a lot of money for me.
But are you asking? Is there someone in the room with us that is related to you or I? Is that what you're asking?
Correct, Mundo. Of course, I'm going to ask that question.
Now, again, I'm always, as I said, I know the public actor Cameron Daddo, but I don't know anything else. But the thing is, and just the look of it, I'm thinking that's an ideal marriage, separate bathrooms. That's smart thinking. But the thing is, while I was driving down, I kept hearing 2 dads. So I don't know if there's 2 dads in the room. So has anybody lost a dad? No. So, 2 dads. So I wonder if this is somebody that was like a dad. But and I also thought around you, I had a woman that it came in on mum's side that either had trouble walking towards the end of her life. Is it mum's mum that's in spirit?
And I'm talking to mum this morning and I told her that you were coming in.
Yeah.
And she said Gonnie will come. She always
is
comes.
Is that her mum?
My mum's mum.
Oh, beautiful. And you remember her?
Oh, of course.
Oh, beautiful.
She left me her piano.
Oh.
I'm not going to tell you any more.
No. Was she bedbound or heart mobility problems towards the end of life? Because I felt like I wanted to tell you I can walk now, I can dance. But I kept hearing 2 dads. So I thought I was going to get 2 dads. So that's simple enough. We haven't got 2 dads. But I kind of feel if there was 2 mentors that were like dads to you guys, but separate people. And I've got to say again, not knowing that we only know the public and I only know very little about the public thing, but you both are ethical people from hard-working families. And I feel like you came from battlers. Do you know what I mean? People that integrity and I don't know if it's a grandfather to you, but I feel like I'd rather you give me your word on a handshake and look me in the eye than sign any contract in front of me.
Absolutely.
And
that's
I kind of feel like either farm or something of that connection, but liking the land. I'm not necessarily thinking I'm milking cows, but somebody that was used to hard work. It wasn't scary and probably liked animals more than he liked some people, I've got to say. So I don't know if that makes sense. And your grandmother, I don't know if she was smaller in stature, but when she reminds me of, the Beverly Hillbillies, when the little grandmother, when she spoke, everybody listened, that sort of thing. So you understand that? And it's kind of like, she's kind of like, she ruled the roost. Yeah. And I kind of feel that even if there was a point where she might have got something wrong, she didn't admit it, so that sort of thing. So
sounds like my mum too. No, actually, it's Gonnie, yeah.
But families, and your principle, and even though you're public people, you're private people living a public life, if that makes sense. And I've got to say, coming down to, I had massive pains in the chest, so I thought somebody male had a heart attack and didn't make it to hospital, and I also thought there was either a bowel bowel cancer or somebody that had a very aggressive stomach cancer. Do you make sense of those?
My grandfather, heart attack, didn't make ambulance, died in the died on the
because
way.
he said he didn't want to be hooked up to a machine, didn't want to be connected, spoon fed, and even a nurse, God love her, he wouldn't want somebody taken after sanitary needs, all that sort of thing. And who had the aggressive cancer, stomach cancer, either bowels primary? I thought that was over your way.
Well, my father had a bout of it, but he's fine.
He's fine now, so he's come out the other side.
He's come out the other
was
side.
that very aggressive, a little bit touch and go?
No, I don't think so.
No, not necessarily. So somebody, I don't know, and who's a military man in spirit?
Wow.
That could be my grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's also,
unless it's one of your Gonnie's brothers.
Gonnie's brothers both were Gallipoli.
Oh, okay. Did one not come back?
They both didn't come back.
Okay, but I mean a physical body.
Oh, that would be a question for Mum, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
I kind of felt
Mate,
like
they were both. I think they're both there. They're both because my
got
brother
it.
saw their names.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Because I kind of felt that somebody thought if they didn't come back, we couldn't bury them. They didn't get to heaven, but they did. That sort of thing. So I've got to say, the wealth, and it's like, you can have the best parents in the world and not be a good person. You can be the worst person in the world and have great children. You guys, it's kind of like 3 generations down where it hasn't changed. Like as far as ethics, family, and as far as people, like that's all that matters, that you should be there for each other. I kind of think that if you two were to have a holiday, you'd be like, I feel guilty for being idle. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're a little bit workaholics, that sort of thing. So, but in a good way. And I know, I don't know if I'm stepping over, but I don't know if you've ever written a book or you're thinking about writing a book, but I think the media has been relatively kind to you, but I think there's going to come a point where you might want to put your story out there or and I saw you helping people in crisis, and I think it's children as well, but people that haven't got a voice, people that, can't speak up for themselves, and you're very big advocates for that, and you do a lot behind the scenes, that sort of thing. You try to sort of help people come on board financially, and I think you get frustrated when people sort of don't sort of marry up their words to their actions, so I don't know if that makes sense, but I can't tell you. And as I said, when I was coming down, I thought these were 2 people that were looking at you like the sun rose and set with you. So I don't know how close you were with your grandfather. Don't know how close you were with, and particularly the grandmother too. But and she's laughing and saying, "You told me the piano, but do you not know how to play the piano, or do you not play it as well as she did, or something?"
Probably don't play it enough probably don't play it as much as she would like me to play it.
Okay. So she'd like that, So I see, and again, it's like you're always thinking production-wise, like, companies. I didn't mean to upset you. Are you okay?
No, it's good.
Okay. She just said, "Look what you've done." I felt like I got in trouble, and I went, "Okay, I'm sorry."
Oh, well, that's Gonnie too, because she didn't.
She's very forthright.
She wasn't a great shower of emotions. Okay, so I'll tell the quick.
Yeah.
So she was dying of cancer. She had lung cancer.
Okay.
And I would go over and play the piano for her.
Oh.
And she would yell out, "Too much pedal, too much left hand," and then she'd be coughing in the thing. Is Gonnie dying? Is she dying now? I keep playing, tears coming down my face. But I have her piano now.
So that's a beautiful memory. And not only that she's passed it on to good hands, but those I even put mascara on today to try and get my confidence up, so I don't want to look like Kung Fu Panda when I cry. But I've got to say, she said those moments meant the world to her because of music, and just the fact that, a young boy gave that time to do that to her, for her, sorry. So she's a woman that it reminds me that she almost, I don't know if this is right, but it's almost like I saw war in my backyard, or I had hard times, or I had, I guess probably all that era lived through the Depression and all that sort of thing. Yeah. But I kind of feel that I saw the hard side of mankind, and to see men, and I think, I don't know how many, I'm seeing a lot of boys, so I don't know how many boys are in the family, but I'm seeing that all the men are tailed with that same brush, where they have that gentle side, and she loves that. There's a little bit of I hope you haven't got siblings that are listening to this, but there's a little bit of a different affinity with you and her than there was with anybody else. Do you know? So it doesn't mean she doesn't love anybody any different, but you, I don't know. Are you the baby of the family?
No, I'm the oldest.
Oh, you're the oldest, so the other way around.
An older sister, yeah.
So it's almost like you didn't have to make time for her, but you did, and those are the things she took with her, and she, so. And is there not a lot of photos of her?
There's then not
Is
a
there
lot.
not a lot of photos of her? No, she said no. She said, and she said that's okay. She'll remember me beautiful. So I'm thinking, that's crazy, isn't it? So, and the grandfather again, I felt with you, Alison. I thought the grandfather, he reminded me of like overalls, or just as I said, a hardworking man, and that if I had to dress up, this would drive me nuts, that kind of thing. So, but they're definitely around you, and you'll get signs and you'll get numbers, and as I said, you might be stopped at the lights and look at a number plate, and you might see initials or a number to support that, or or when you're thinking about her getting that ring in the ears, so she's not mushy as far as saying I love you hard on the sleeve, but she does, and as I said, and that those even she said the coughing she doesn't choose to remember, but she said but the music she does remember, so, and you used to be like as feminine and beautiful as you are, I don't know if you were a little bit of a tomboy or that's crazy because I'm looking at things, she's so feminine and beautiful, but this grandfather said, I don't know if you used to assist with tools, but it's almost like you'd give the wrong tool, that sort of thing.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, a 5-minute job went for about an hour,
That's right.
So he's like,
right.
he said, but those are memories you can't buy, you can't bottle, and I don't know, it's make me cry, it's making me, it's just, those are memories that, he didn't believe it. I think your grandmother too, both of them didn't believe in people like me, so, your grandfather's showing me a witch's broomstick, but there's a good sense of humour there, so I'm thinking, okay, fair enough. Your grandmother's kind of like nodding her head too, so, but, the love bonds, and even though they've been there for a while, they're so proud of the people that you've become. And as I said, you help, I don't know a lot of celebrities, I can't speak on celebrities' behalf, but a lot of people, what might look good in front of the cameras once the cameras stop rolling, but you guys are the same people and you still look out for people and you remember those humble beginnings, and you remember having it hard, and you remember, so I keep getting the Western Sydney around you too, so I don't know if that was anything in your background. No, but to me it's almost like, when people say, people from the West, and all of a sudden we're sort of put down, it's almost like you guys, you've been there, so, and you look at people, you could talk to the Queen, well, I was going to say the Queen of England, now it's the King of England, you could talk to the King of England, but you could have that same empathy for the homeless man in the gutter, and your family couldn't be more proud of that. So,
Oh my gosh, Florence.
Now I'm embarrassed. Now I'm embarrassed because I thought the two dads, I think that was the grandmother. That's, because I thought she was such a masculine energy, and again, I didn't see her, but I thought I was so confident that I'm going to have two dads here. And when you both said no, I went, oh, great, psychic, aren't I?
Going well.
But then it was like as I said, the father figure.
Very
but that
much a
woman's
father figure.
so strong, so strong.
Yeah.
I think she even probably told her husband what to do. I don't think she was of the era where the husband told her what to do. So, and that's really unusual. She's a bit of a trailblazer because in that era, they did what the husband said, or the husband might have come home and beat him up, but there's none of that. So so very proud of you.
Described it perfectly.
That's
wow.
beautiful.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so
What
much,
my
Florence.
honour. My honour.
What a wonderful way to start the year
it's
with
beautiful.
you and these lovely messages.
Thank you.
And also the kindness to what you're telling us all to do is to take care of ourselves.
It really is.
bit.
And you don't sort of hear that often. You hear everyone say, oh, you can't think of yourself, you've got to think of everyone else. And that's fair. We've got to get on with everybody. But you cannot be a well-adjusted human being if you're not content within yourself. And I think that's where, and isn't it funny how everyone's frightened to speak up now? Everyone's so politically correct and you're not allowed to have a say that's different from anybody else. So we're losing ourselves. It's like, I remember seeing debates about whether it's gay marriage or this or that. If somebody went against the grain, everybody sort of attacked them. And I'm thinking, but this is the class of people that are saying they've been attacked and they're doing it. Why aren't we allowed to have an opinion about anything? You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we're losing ourselves for fear of offending people, for fear of being stomped on. I'm like, if everyone's on the left, then I'm happy to stand on the right. Do you know what I mean? Be yourself. So I think that's the main thing. And sort of we've forgotten ourselves, I think, along the way, so, yeah.
Oh, I hope we get to, can you see us meeting again in the future?
Yes.
Yes, because I can. My guts
I love
is telling
this. Is a
me
big
that.
deal to me. I tell you, out the front. As soon as I saw the producer, I hugged her and said, "I'm sorry, I'm just so nervous." Thinking, that's lovely. Thank you.
So wonderful to meet you.
Oh, it's wonderful to meet you.
Yeah.
Wonderful to meet both of you. And as I said, I tell you what, there's not many times where you see a photo of somebody in a magazine and then you see the real deal, and you actually look probably better than you do in the magazine. So,
That's
she's
very
great.
kind.
You're both aging well. That's good. Not that that you're old, but, I might just stop before I put my foot completely in it. Yeah, but next year's about, look, I think you guys have got that to-do list to catch up on that you haven't been able to do. But again, I kind of think you're still going to be producing, working on things. And just if it's not too personal, has a book ever occurred to you?
I'm releasing my first book this
No.
year. Yep.
No.
Yeah.
I could be psychic. No, that's so good.
Yeah.
Because I thought, and as I said, over the years, you hear when they sort of slam people, and I thought, no, they've been pretty good to you guys, but I think it's just getting the record straight and getting your stories out there. So well done. I look forward to reading
There
it.
you
Good.
go.
Wow.
Sound
I mean,
really
I kept my mouth shut. Ali's looking at me going,
Yeah. I know what she's talking
I've been
about.
working at it. I was working at it
amazing.
all last year.
Beautiful.
So,
Beautiful.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
good.
It's
Good.
ready for middle of this year.
Oh, fantastic. Look, you're good people and just keep doing what you're doing too, so you're making a difference and that's wonderful. And I'm just privileged to be in your company, so that's lovely.
Oh, Florence.
Right back at you.
Likewise.
Thank you,
Likewise.
Florence.
Thank you, my honour. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Wow.
I'm hiding behind the microphone.
I know.
That was a bit revealing.
Revealing
Incredibly. Well, just
about you or about-
just I don't know. Just like my heart feels like my heart's been popped open. With her talking about my grandma.
Yes.
But clearly, that was very. She was getting a very clear sense of.
Yes.
That was crazy. The piano and
It was.
I mean, I know I said piano
You
first,
did.
but
You did. But how she described her, the specifics were. And all I could think of was that that one photograph that we have of her, and she looks like the lady from the Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hillbillies. That was wild.
Like when she said that, I was like, "Holy, yeah." That was a
And
lot
for you
of
too,
things.
with your papa,
Yeah, I know.
because he was all that.
He was
she
all
said.
that. Yep, and he was a jackaroo. When she was saying on the land, I was like, "Yep."
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the tools.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing.
What an incredible lady, and I mean a great message for all of us for this year.
Yeah.
To get in to take care of ourselves.
Yep,
Yep.
for sure. For sure.
What did she say? You can't be a well-adjusted human if you're not taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Take care of yourself, then hopefully you're also then taking care of the planet, for the environment, other people,
Yeah.
that everyone gets taken care of.
Are you looking forward to this year now?
Yep.
Will you have a different view of those shadows in the corners of your eye?
I've always known that they're somebody.
Have
I've
you?
always felt that. You know that. Yeah, are you saying?
Well, yeah, but not that specific. Maybe, Really?
Yeah.
What?
Anyway, keep moving on. Keep moving on.
I'm not talking about visitors in the night.
No, I know. Well,
Yeah.
look, you can reach Florence King. She is available to do mediumship with you if you want to reach a loved one or get a reading with her. I mean,
Go
what
have
a
her teach
kind,
you.
lovely lady.
Go-
She's so warm.
Go do her classes.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I might even do that.
Hey.
Wow! But the thing that where she's acknowledging that our instinct and our gut feeling is a psychic ability that
Yes.
we all have. We all have that feeling.
Yes, yeah. I love that. Yeah. I love it when I follow my gut and it's correct. Like just those little things where when you're just walking down the shopping aisle and you see a bottle of, chili oil and I go, buy that. I'm like, I don't need chili oil. No, I'll buy it anyway. And sure enough, the recipe calls for chili oil. And I was like, I bought it.
I got some of that.
God, I love that.
God, I'm hot.
I'm psychic.
You're a hot chili mama.
That's it.
All right, hot chili mama.
All right, lovely ones. Well, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed that. We loved that.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
we'll reconvene next week with
Indeed.
something special for you.
All right. Thanks for listening.